be able to make it come in if that's a contract. But
Hey, everyone. Angela O'Hare here, your favorite Las Vegas realtor.
hi, I'm Rob Howe, Rockstar Realtor. I'm all about houses and you.
Yes. Now that we don't have anyone watching live, but if you do want to call us live,
Yeah.
my number's posted right there. Maybe give us a text first so we
Yeah.
know that you're calling. We love interaction, and I think it would be fun to get live callers. And plus, I want to say, caller, you're on the air.
Yeah.
So happy belated birthday, Rob.
Thank you very much.
It was 2 days ago. How was your birthday?
It was, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Should I wait to open it?
Whatever you want. I'm never picky.
It was chill. I mean, it was on a Wednesday,
Yeah.
so it's like didn't really do much. I decided to play tennis in the middle of the day, which I don't usually do.
Oh.
So that was my big deal.
Actually,
and I slept until
8:30. It was a nice day. I think Wednesday was an actual nice day.
It was a very nice day. I slept until 8:30, although I still had to work and take care of some business.
I am getting tired of this weather. This has been the most coldest winter in a very long time.
Yeah, we needed it though. It's nice to see the wet weather.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's great, but it's like I haven't been able to enjoy the activities I like to do outside.
Yeah, it has been. As a tennis player, I'm very aware of what the weather's doing.
Well, and the sad thing is this is going to really shorten our spring. We're going to have a very short spring. You can open the card if you want.
All right. Yeah.
So Rob turned. We're not going to say.
I'll say it. I'm 47.
47. We're all getting old.
I'm finally responsible at 47.
Angela, need a price sheet for Valridge. Okay.
Oh,
I'll get you a price sheet.
You're old.
You're old. Just
in. Thanks, Angela. I didn't know that. I now know that. This is not fake news. This is not fake news, folks. Rob, I hope you have a wonderful birthday. I did. Thank you. It has been great working with you these last 3 years. Like, it's unbelievable. It's been 3 years.
Yeah.
Many more years to come. Absolutely 100%. Thank you, Ange.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be 3 years in July.
Yeah, we're coming up on it. I figured it wasn't just yet, because if you think about it, just to go back, because my birthday's a marker down for around the corner.
Right.
We were getting into the pandemic 3 years ago. So, happy pandemic anniversary to everybody.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, 3 years. Can you believe it? And
yeah.
I still see people wearing masks. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Right. Well, there's a load of interesting out there, but we won't get into that because I'm sure people, talk about that plenty. But it's just wild, because I think if the pandemic hadn't happened, maybe we wouldn't be doing what we do together. I don't know if I would have gotten into YouTube as much. It's certainly not as briskly as I did, and certainly with your help.
Exactly.
So no, that's just to name like our little, you and I.
Yeah, that's when we met, right?
Yeah, there's been a bunch of things. I don't think I'd be playing tennis like I do.
Yeah.
A lot of things. I'm sure everybody could relate, or a lot of people can relate.
Even though it was tragic, but I think the pandemic was a blessing in disguise.
I mean, we're not people that are going to look at things as we're going to look at it as the glass is half full and find the good stuff.
So, we can get on to more personal stuff, but you know what? I have a feeling it's going to be a long one.
Could be.
So
this is a good one, folks.
It's a good one, because you know what? Oh my God, the Las Vegas real estate market is crashing, guys.
I'm really, really concerned.
We're so concerned.
Don't buy.
Do not buy now. Now is not the time to buy.
Don't do anything.
Just kidding.
Just kidding, folks. Yeah.
Yeah. You will see, as you may have, there are a lot of doom and gloom YouTube videos out there, and it's perfect that Rob just recently did his video about that. And don't buy into the bull crap.
Listen, there's a lot of people that want to hear what they want to hear.
Yes.
And they are sure of it, that everything is just going to hell in a handbag. But here's the news, folks. It's not in Vegas. And it may be in, that other areas of the country will have different situations. I know that that's happening. But Vegas is a place that people want to go. And I'm seeing what I would call stability.
Yes.
Stability is happening here. It doesn't mean there isn't more to come, like as far as we're going to talk about what happens next month, of course.
Right.
But it means that we're seeing strength in this city. Strong stays strong. You got to remember that, folks, because if you're listening to these people out there telling you that everything's going to hell in a handbag, I think, first of all, this information, when somebody says don't buy, that's why I say the don't buy guy. If you're watching YouTube about Vegas enough and real estate, you know the guy, don't buy guy that says don't buy, and he's found a honey hole.
He has found a huge honey hole. I mean, he is he's exploded. And I'm not jealous. I'm just saying in his comments, people, oh, we appreciate you being honest. You're such an honest guy. When we're ready to buy, we're going to use you. But he's a used car salesman.
Yeah.
He's not being honest.
Well, and I don't know if he's being honest or not. I think maybe he's come to his own conclusions, but more or less what I would think is that it's not being that's not giving good information.
Right.
Because just telling somebody blanketed, don't buy, you may be dead wrong. He may be dead wrong. And it very much depends. As somebody just said, it very much depends on your situation. And so, saying that with a blanket thing, because there's a lot predicated on this that when especially maybe not so much the guy we're talking about, but other people that are predicting a lot of shoes to drop in the future. How do you know that? How do you say these things without really looking at if you look at it with an educated eye, you see how the structure of things are. This isn't 2008. Right. And you have to look at that. You have to look at the information. People have 3% mortgages. They're not in these house of cards mortgages that they were in.
Exactly.
They have equity in a lot of cases, and they're not sitting on a powder keg of, where things are just going to all of a sudden go to foreclosure. And in 90 days, you're going to see people get foreclosed on. This is something that everybody must understand. To foreclose on a property now would take a lot from the lenders. Not only that, they want to work things out first. All right. So the workouts would take time. The process would take time. And I can guarantee you, if I'm the lenders, I'm not going to allow this to all happen at once. I'm going to dole this out. So, and that's saying if that was even going to happen. Okay. So until that happens, if you're talking about investors suddenly chucking all their properties and selling them, you're nuts, because they're getting great rent rates. Even right now, the rental market is staying strong. It's not really going up and away anymore, thank goodness. But it's staying strong. So you look at all these little pieces of evidence and you go, why is this person's? Well, what we're talking about is one thing, right? Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's like
interest rates.
His taglines, his clickbait lines is saying the Las Vegas housing market is crashing, new builders are failing, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, we believe in the real numbers. And the numbers,
and that's what we're here
our numbers don't lie. So we actually had, and for the last 3 months, we have been seeing a very balanced market.
Yeah, and that's, these numbers have come out. Let's see, we went down a total in the last 3 months of what?
Well, we're going to go over that in a minute. All right. Yeah. So from December, January, and February, it has been actually very, very stable. Okay. And considering.
Yeah. Because it wasn't
doom and gloom
prior to that. Prior to that, we clearly had
we were going down and down and down and down. Okay. Yeah. So we had a 27% decrease in median price from a year ago. But of course, we know in 2022, February, it was friggin' cray, right?
It was nuts.
So the median price, actually, we're going to go with the number of closings. So the number of closings last month was 1,722 closings, which is 30% more than January and 31.5% less than the prior year. Of course, last year was crazy. Yeah. So we had more sales in February than we did January. And the median price went from $425,000 to $424,995.
$5 decrease.
It went down.
I've never seen
$5 decrease.
I've never seen a $5 increase or decrease.
Yes,
that I can remember. Nothing that small I've ever seen.
One, we had more closings, and we only had a $5 decrease. In December, the median price was $425. In January, the median price was $425. And in February, it dropped $5.
So, and why this is significant is because we did have, as far as volume is concerned, some of the slowest times for volume that we've had, historically.
Right.
So it tells us that even though it was historically slow, the sellers weren't getting desperate, and they weren't throwing their properties out there just to be bought at whatever. Give me $1, give me some money. No, there was a lot of responsibility happening, I think. And the buyers were aware of that were active and while they are getting some deals out there,
right?
They're not, finding that they can just steal something, so to speak. I mean, I've especially right now, I'm finding that, what's happened is a compression of the market. You get above a certain price range and you do see that it's a little tougher to sell,
right?
Like probably over 600-700 range, 700,000.
Right.
You're starting to see that's a harder price range for people to take a loan on. But there's not a ton of inventory there. So what you're seeing is everything below that, because those people that were qualified for 700 before, now they're trying to get something around 550, 600.
Right, exactly.
So they're compressing all the lower price ranges.
Right.
And there's not enough inventory for that demand, believe it or not. That's the next thing we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So let's, it looks like, thank you guys, finally getting lots of questions.
Yeah, we're gonna address all those questions and comments.
Well, since we're in the middle, let's just
okay,
grab some up. Okay, Angela, price sheet, blah blah blah. That's okay, buddy. I just turned 40 something too.
Yeah. Hey, I gotta tell you, 47 is not bad, folks. I'm living the best I ever have.
Can anyone guess how old I am? I'm older than Rob. That's scary.
I was very surprised to find that out.
Let's see. LOL. All right, we got that.
Scat orange whistle. I don't know what that means.
Cat orange whistling. He's whistling because you're hot.
Oh,
you look good for your age. That's
thank
what
you,
it means.
Thank you.
Would it be better to buy a house with a pool in the backyard or build one?
Well, that's okay. So if you're buying a house with a pool in the backyard, you're generally buying a resale, of course. So it's
pools have gotten expensive over the years.
Yeah, and so I would generally fall on the short answer to that is to buy a house with a pool.
Yeah, exactly.
And oh, by the way, really quickly, if you want a house with a larger pool, you better buy a resale, because you can only build, I think, 600 square feet.
Yep.
Now.
Yep. So exactly.
Yep.
SVB just collapsed. Does that have to do with stocks?
Tell us what SVB is. We're not aware of it.
Javaman. Matt, the thing to watch is cost to rent compared to cost to buy.
Absolutely. And that's where buyers are having struggles. There's no doubt that buyers are having a harder time making ends meet on purchasing. But there are just, first of all, there's a lot of people coming from other states,
right,
and they're used to higher prices anyway. But also there are just people who don't rent. They just don't.
And a lot of the cash buyers are waiting for these interest rates to continue to go up because they feel that they can get a really good deal.
Yeah. And that's going to be another, this is why when I look at it, the inventory, as long as there's an inventory shortage, it's not going to be great for the business necessarily. Like, right. We'll be fine. We're doing well. But I think some of these agents that got in and got low hanging fruit, they're finding out this is a hard time right now.
Yep.
Time to earn your money.
Markets crashed near an election. Oh, so what about days on market and price reduction? We're going to go over that shortly.
Yep. We'll certainly go to also percentage of wage cost someone to purchase a home compared to what they make a month. Yes, absolutely. This is eliminated. That's why we do have less buyer activity. There's no doubt about that. We have less buyer activity. Our point in being able to say, hey, folks, if you thought that this is going to go, completely sideways, you're wrong, because things are holding stable. There's stability. It doesn't mean that that we're suddenly going to start swinging back up. But I will say, and I think we're going to see it in the numbers here, there are certain parts of our that are going up.
Yes.
So
I mean, basically, is the sky is not falling as all these doomsayers are saying that the market's crashing, Vegas, blah, blah, blah. Now, things can change, and we're going to go further into it. Let's just get through these last few questions and go over the market update. Got to stay on point. But thoughts on Sky Canyon appreciation in a few years once rates come back down and inflation is dealt with? I think because Sky Canyon is a desirable master plan community. It's a newer master plan community. Not, it was developed in 1920, 17 time frame and it's still continuing to grow, and it has all these amenities that are going to start popping up, that I think that the appreciation will still continue to rise in Sky Canyon.
So this is what I would say is Sky Canyon, Summerlin, Anthem, anywhere,
Southern Highlands,
anywhere in Las Vegas. What you really have to look at is the long-term prospect of what's going to happen. What is the long-term outlook? And long-term, I say right now, I'm looking at 3 to 5 years. I think things appreciate, so Sky Canyon will appreciate.
Yeah, and it has appreciated since it was developed.
It did. And so certainly if you got in early, you're still sitting on equity. Now, if you just bought last year, you're going to have to ride it out a little bit, but you can be hopeful for the future. And again, this is where I'm going to key in on something that I kind of lost sight of, even as we were turning into the new year. I got a little negative. I did. You can watch this stuff on YouTube, and it is where I get some of my information from, people that are out there. And some of them are very smart. And so you start feeling like, it's a lot of stuff is coming down, and you get a negative aspect. But my goodness, Vegas, everybody wants to be here. I mean, a lot of people coming from places that are having trouble are coming here.
Right.
There's so much good things happening in Vegas. And you name it, you can talk to us about it. You ask us, what do you think about the water problem? We won't.
We're not going to get into that this video.
We won't go on about it. But you ask us anything, and I can tell you an answer that is on the positive side of things.
Right.
So, and that's not just blowing smoke. That's not just making stuff up so that we can make a buck. This is like, no, we're happy to see that our state has handled things well.
Yeah, and we had a comment last market update saying that, they're telling you to buy now because they just want to make a buck. And if anyone knows us, and if any of our clients knows us, we'll work with you when you're ready. We don't try to push you. We're not a greedy or aggressive agents. Yeah. We speak, in our opinion, we think we speak the truth, right?
Well, and listen, here's how I've always looked at it. And I'm going to work with you today, and then 10 years from now, when you decide to sell, or 5 years, or whenever it is. So if I do something wrong now, and you look at, you go, but Rob was kind of, just shining us. That's horrible for my future business. First of all, that's horrible for you, who I do care about.
Right.
And it doesn't mean we can be perfect. That's not human, but it means that our intentions are
honest.
Yes. And we're trying to get people in the right situations. And that's why I could never tell somebody, don't buy now, unless I saw your situation. And then I would say, no, your time is not now.
Exactly.
Don't do that now, because that's going to put you in a position that's risky. Now, if you have a different situation, I might say, look, this makes perfect sense. Right. So,
So I always like to go over the trends for median price. I've been doing this for the last, 6 months now.
Okay.
So February 2022, the median price was at 450.
Yep.
Okay. So that means that we had almost a 20% decrease from last year. But last year was a whole nother ball of wax.
Yeah. Boy.
In February 2021, the median price was $355,000. And then in February 2020, it was $316,000. So we're hanging in around the 425 range. And we're nowhere near 2021 numbers. Right. But of course, we know we're not going to be 2022 numbers, because that was just outrageous.
Yeah.
So to be stable for the last 3 months is a good sign. Mm-hmm. But it's still, in my opinion, a buyer's market.
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
We have been also going over median price.
It's almost both, though.
Well, let
me say this, because this is what gets confusing. If you need to sell right now as a seller, you can sell.
No.
You can sell.
How long is it going to take, though?
Oh, well, you can do it quickly. You price right, price to sell, you can get it done. I just put a property on the market on Thursday, sold it over the weekend, 4 offers.
Well, I have 2 listings that are priced well, very nice houses, and it's hard. But one of them has solar, so that's another discussion we're going to have later on today.
I'm not look, you got to price to sell.
And what was the price range of that one?
That was 5. It was listed originally at 517. I can't tell you where it sold at, but my people are happy. They got what they needed out of this property. The offers told the story, so that's where you want to be at if you're trying to sell. But point being is, it is the buyer's market. But if you are a seller and have to sell, it's not as if, because here's the deal. There's not a lot of inventory.
Well, yes, we'll get into that.
So,
all right. But this guy says, Java Man says, if you have crash, it's a buyer's market. Not necessarily true, because as we're showing you, it's stable, but the days on market are longer. And if the sellers need to sell, then they are giving concessions. Correct?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes.
Right now, if you're in a certain price range, you do not have to do that. You just price it right to sell, and you don't have to do that. That's what I'm seeing.
Well, mine is like, one of them is in Trilogy Summerlin, so it's a higher end retirement luxury home. So depending on the location and the price range, it's a different market. But we're gonna get into the luxury market. I'm not gonna go over the medium for condos, should I?
Well, didn't it go up? Oh, did it go down?
It went down.
Okay, it went down slightly. Okay.
So real quick, the medium sales price for condos and townhomes.
It stayed the same. Oh no,
remained the same at 255.
Okay, that. See, this is what I was pointing out. So it didn't go up, but it remained the same, and it went up the last month.
Right.
Okay.
And it's down from 1.9% from February 2022, but it remained the same from January of last year.
And now this is a big deal to me.
Yes.
450 units, number of closings. So not, it's up, but also let's look at, we're going to get into inventory. When we look at the inventory in this section, that's what I want to key in on.
Right.
Because I'm going to say we're going up on that price next month when we look at it again.
Inventory of available homes for condos and townhomes is 1155.
Okay. So actually, down. So it's down 6.3. So you're getting less inventory there, and you're getting more demand in that area, because that's where people are squishing in. The compression is happening in that zone.
Right. So briefly, before I forget, I like to always go over the luxury market. There were 72 homes that sold in February that were $1 million and over, compared to January 70. So they've been hovering around that price. I mean, that amount of.
This is about the numbers we started at.
But
when
the median price decreased drastically. It went from 1.575 to 1.345. So it had a roughly 229,000.
That
decrease.
Zone of about 1.2, 1.3. That's where they're selling at.
Yeah.
That's what I've been seeing.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff that's been hanging around a little while, when they start lowering their price into that range, boom, that's when it starts going off.
Yeah. All right. So then now, this is important. The number of new listings.
Yep, this is a big one.
This is a big one. For February, there were 2,243 new listings, which was down 9.4 from January and down 24% from the prior year.
We're entering a usual time where we start to see
lots of listings
more listings coming on. It's just not there. It's sellers are staying put. They don't really have a lot of reason to sell. The old sell and buy move right now is not really taking place too often, because why would you sell your 3% mortgage,
right, and
then go to a 6% or 6.5%?
I think that people that are selling have to sell because they're moving out of state or other circumstances, divorce, all that kind of stuff. But
there's always people who have to sell. But clearly, when you get into the must selling territory, you're having less of those people.
Right.
And this is what I want to continuously point out, because it seems like the doomsdayers are saying that there's going to be all these must sellers, whether it's the investors that have to get out. You're nuts. Okay, that's a stupid statement. Right. Or if it's a whole bunch of foreclosures and short sales. Well, I did a video on it, and there were 53 foreclosures that are hanging around, not even priced well, on the entire Las Vegas market. And that is historically low, folks, okay, for that number. And there are 28 short sales that are garbage and aren't selling.
Right.
So you got a total of what, 70 some, just above 80, 81 or something, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's nothing. That's a blip on the radar. And yes, those foreclosures happen. Yes, those shorts, there's always people who have trouble.
Right.
But, some of that has to do with like reverse mortgages when people pass away and stuff, then they go to foreclosure. It has, there's
numerous reasons.
Yeah, there's these reasons. It's not because there's a sudden, clamp on people. You just don't
because,
see it.
All right, let's, all right, let me tell you this.
Yeah.
Because in
clear what I'm saying.
2008, well, what you're saying is that in 2008, the reason we had the crash was because of these subprime lendings, these people doing these crazy lendings that shouldn't have even been financed, right? Circle back 2020 when COVID happened, you had people wanting to get out of their states, California, the Midwest, the back east. They were selling their homes, making buku bucks, getting cash, coming to Vegas to relocate and buying their homes with cash.
Yep.
I would say about 30% of the buyers, if not more, during this last 2 years have been cash buyers. And then the people that did finance have great interest rates. And then the people that had maybe higher interest rates refinanced during this time. So why would anyone want to sell their home unless they must? Because they have great interest rates.
Right.
So that's why we're not seeing the inventory being saturated.
Yep.
Right.
And absolutely. And going back to the loan process of what happened, since that time, you got to have skin in the game. People have to have money that they put down. They've got investment in their property. Okay. So
and a lot of them were, if they weren't paying cash, they were putting good chunks down.
Big chunks of money. Those people aren't leaving.
Yeah.
Okay. Those people are not getting, and most of those people are well employed.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing. And so these are the other shoes that would have to drop. There is no way that I could sit here and predict that, all of these other economic things could happen. Sure. There are people out there saying it, but how do you know that? How do you know that?
Right.
And not only that, if you want to say Wall Street's going to have a problem, okay, but that doesn't always equal real estate having a problem.
Right.
Okay. It doesn't help, but it doesn't equal. It doesn't mean, that crashed, so this is going to crash. It doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
In 08 it did, because it was a full on financial and housing issue.
Yes.
Okay. It was all together. But anyway, we could bore people with this stuff. They've heard it.
So this number, which is a key indicator, is the availability of listings.
Big one.
There are 4,665 number of homes listed without offers in the month of February, which is down negative 14.1% and up 167.9 from the year before, obviously, because before we only had maybe 2,000. So if you add that 4,600 plus the 1,100 for the townhomes and condos, that's like what, 5,700?
Yeah, it's
not a lot. Now, if you think that's a lot, put into perspective that we are a city of over 2 million people.
Yeah.
Also, another perspective is Sun City Summerlin has 7,700 homes. So 5,700 is not a lot. It would be like less than Sun City Summerlin.
Yeah, less than just that area.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Spread it out across the whole Vegas Valley, Henderson,
right?
Everything. So yeah, it's let's just put it this way. What we were at last month was 4.1, right?
Yeah, we're going to go over that. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, so we'll go to that next. So where are we at now? 4.1 last month.
All right. So we were at. But just a side note, real quick, February 2022, there were 2,950 new listings on the market compared to, this should say February of this year of 22. So we had more listings last February than we did this year.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah. So now
it's not terribly wild, because if you think about it, the people last year were rushing to get those homes on the market. They were like, let me sell right now.
Yeah.
Right now, they're like, I don't think so. I don't want to do that.
So now, last month we had, like, as Rob was saying, we had 4.1 months of inventory.
This is wild, folks.
So for February, we're at 2.7 months, which is down
7. I can't even believe it.
I know, down 34.1% from last month and up 291.2% from last year.
This tells the tale, folks. This is everything to me. As long as we stay relatively low on inventory, we will see stability throughout this, wherever interest rates go.
Right.
It doesn't mean there's going to be a ton of activity. It just means that you don't have desperate sellers. You don't have prices going into the gutters. They may slide more. They may soften more.
Yes.
I think they will to some degree, but to what degree those deal shoppers are out there thinking is going to happen, I don't know. I don't think you're going to see things fall off a cliff. I think we already fell off. We already corrected for the most part. Now we're going to have some more minor corrections based off of that.
I get a lot of my buyers saying they want to wait till the summer and stuff. And, typically in Vegas and maybe across the country, the busiest time for us is February, March, April, May, and then June starts tapering down. July and August are our slower months, and September. But I usually pick up November, December. So, the summertime, we may see some slowdown.
Summertime's usually hot. If it's hot in Vegas, it's hot on the market.
Not for me.
I'm overall numbers. That's what I see, and usually for me.
Well, usually, and then when I was looking at previous numbers for the summertime, it's more stable and maybe just slight increases, and not like these huge increases. As it
definitely,
in the
ramp up is during the spring.
Exactly,
no doubt about it.
Right,
but it stays pretty robust through the summer. It could be a different summer. It could be different because rates. I'm going to talk about this on my next prognostication. What are rates going to do? The Fed is maybe not happy with what they're seeing. This stability thing is not exactly exciting for them.
You know what? I have a question. How much money does Powell make? Right?
How much money does he make? I don't. That's a good question.
He probably makes 9 figures, and here he is. Because we had a great 7 figures, unemployment was great. It was stable, everything's stable, and they don't want stability. They want a recession. They want Americans to suffer.
Well, so they don't necessarily want that, but it's what it's sort of what they need to get out of to get the inflation under control. When you have jobs that are plentiful, when you have people making money that can spend that money.
But that's good for people to be able to work.
Yeah.
Why would you want people to be homeless?
Because inflation basically keeps ticking up.
Right. But
no, you don't want people to be homeless.
If they didn't send trillions of dollars overseas every second, then we wouldn't have this problem. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe. Listen, I'm just going to go back to the apps. Here's the failure of the Fed. And this is why I have major trust issues with them, because I don't know if this at the time was done for political reasons or not, but it's just was an awful miss, because when they were saying it was transitory, the inflation was transitory. Here I am, little old Rob Howe in Las Vegas, Nevada, going, no, you got it wrong. We need to have rate changes now. And now I can say that pretty emphatically now. At the time, I was just kind of wondering, shouldn't we be doing this?
Right.
And as we rolled into last year and into this time of the year, I was like, man, this is booming. And it didn't need to boom that hard.
Yeah.
So had they started raising rates in 2021, late 2021, I think we could have avoided a lot of this. So this is where I have the trust issues of like, okay, these people are supposed to be this.
Where are these predictors? These people predicting these things.
They got to be. They got to be. And there were people predicting it, saying this is a problem. They should be doing something about it. But the Fed was not. So now what I need to know, are they going to recognize what they need to do? Are they going to overcook it? Are they going to undercook it? This is all the stuff that you wonder and you have trust issues with. And when I say that, it's about these rates. Yes, they want to slow. The housing market has so much to do with and just lending in particular, because you're talking about the car markets, you're talking about commercial, everything that loans get involved with when the rate is higher, that makes things slow. And so that the goods and services, the money that people are making, us realtors, when we got money, we spend it. Oh,
I don't.
Well, I mean, overall, when we're doing well, yeah, we do though. We will upgrade our homes.
Well, yeah, but things. I've been squirreling away for a long time.
That's what smart realtors do. Yeah. That's what we do. And yes, but I'm just saying in general, we're gonna we're going to get paid and we're going to spend some money.
Right.
And not to mention all the other people that get paid in a transaction.
Right.
Right. So now and then when somebody buys a house, of course, now they're going to fix their home up. Now that they are spending money. So whether they buy or sell, they're using different people.
It's a domino effect.
It's an industry, right? And then the new home market, you have builders and so on and so forth. So they're trying to put a clamp on all of that. And are they getting enough out of it? Well, across the country, they may be. In Vegas, they may not be. And I hope that Vegas continues to stand tall amongst that.
Right.
So,
I mean, I understand for affordability purposes that the Las Vegas market did get crazy. And I understand where, it would be nicer to see the median price a little lower. But we've always wanted stability. That's all we've ever wanted.
Yeah.
And this
Long-term
is the most stability that we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah. And I think, when we look ahead, and I'll talk about this some, I do think, again, we're looking at a little bit softer as time goes, especially if rates raise,
right?
Because it's the affordability
Well, they're going to increase it on the 22nd of this month.
Yes. And he's
going to increase it by a whole percentage point, right?
I'm hearing half a point. So I was going to talk about that, but that's what I'm seeing. We were hoping for only a quarter point.
Yeah.
But it looks like, it's the whole job market. People are strong right now, so they still need to do more work. Anyway,
so real quick, we'll get to finishing the numbers. We'll answer questions, and then we have a lot more to talk about. So 41.1% of the closings the houses was on the market 30 days or less for the month of February. In January, that number was 38.5%. And February last year was 76.8%. So
it ticked up a little bit.
It ticked up a little because it was like 38 something. But what it's telling me is that days on market, someone was asking about it, is that homes are staying. Gone are the days, unless it's a super duper priced well, super duper beautiful house, that your homes are selling within that weekend. Okay. On rare occasions, you're going to have those multiple offers, but gone are the days where everyone that listed their house is selling the first day or first week. Okay. Sellers need to have better expectations where homes may sit for 30 days. Even if it's priced right, it may sit longer than 30 days. And if it does, it's okay not to panic.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to have longer expectations. Even when I put this last one in the market, I counseled my people. I said, look, this may take we hope it happens fast, but it may take a little time. Pricing your property well in this market is very important. That's going to be your number one weapon. And what I do see is that there's a lot of denial in the sellers out there. There's a lot of junk on the market.
Yes.
That's just sitting there. I mean, this junk they're overpricing it, and it's junk. It needs a lot of work. The buyers out there right now, they do need some help with their closing costs. If they're not going to get it, they better get it on the price.
Well, and they want move-in ready homes. They don't want to have to update it.
Exactly. And everybody's always wanted move-in ready homes. But in a crazy market like last year, people were just buying whatever and they would fix it up. As long as it's in a nice area, they're going to just fix it up. Now
buyers are more picky.
Now they really aren't looking to have a higher mortgage payment and then have to fix up a house.
Right.
This is not going to be on the table, right?
But another thing that I've noticed with working with buyers and sellers is solar. Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Solar is a hot topic right now. And, I know you finance your solar.
Yep.
But like I have a client that has solar. He spent $42,000 for 26 panels finance.
Wow.
$210 a month. He only pays the $13 a month to NV Energy. And it's hard to sell his house because either one, they want him to pay the solar off, or two, no one wants to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Yeah.
So at least it's financed, and at least you have a solidified rate that you're looking at. This is going to be $200. Your power bill is going to be $210, and if you can show that that's pretty much covering my bill,
right,
that's great. But yeah, people sometimes are shy to take on what happens. This is what's happening is if they have to take over the payments on that and qualify for that, well, they're already barely qualifying for the loan, or at least the payment on that loan is already a heavy enough thing for them. So then they got to qualify for both. And that's where the trouble then in lies.
Yes, especially at $210 extra a month. So if you're barely squeaking by to afford that payment, that adds another additional $210 to your monthly payments.
Yeah, I would say in general, buyers like the solar idea, but again, if they look at the numbers and it hurts them, then they're like, crap.
Well, I think now solar to me doesn't make sense, and I know you are for solar, but if I were to buy a house that had solar paid off, then hallelujah, I am happy.
Yeah, that's how I would sell my house.
But
that's how I would sell it.
But if I have to finance solar, I'm not getting, unless I lived in that house 30 years, I'm not getting the money's worth for the cost of the solar panels itself. So he spent $40,000 on these panels. Okay. Yeah. How long is it going to take him to recoup that $40,000 in order for it to actually be prof?
So I think I'm just going to start out at the deal that he got on the solar. It doesn't sound like a great deal.
Right.
Maybe it's a higher end system. Great. But it's not really going to be recognized in this market. And that's the problem. So when you do have that I just hate to say it, he might have to just make that, reasonable enough for a buyer to get involved. But generally speaking, I like solar. I think most people do. And it is the best thing to pay it off with the sale of the home. That's the best way to do it.
Right. But you get solar to save on electricity. But are you really saving? Because let's do the math. Okay. So if you spend $40,000 on solar and it takes 20 years to pay off and your bill's $210, I'm not going to figure it out because I'm going to do a video on it.
It really depends on the efficiency of the home. What is it, an older home?
No. Oh, 1995.
95. So, if his average bills were like, 300, which sounds a lot through the year. So the 200 is on the cusp of, how many square feet? 1,800 square, so not that big of a home. He doesn't have the greatest solar deal. That's
well, and then I had other clients that wanted to buy a house, but they were like, well, if we put in an offer, we want the seller to pay off the solar because I don't want to take on that financial responsibility.
I did one that I think closed in November, and my clients did take on the solar. We had to fight and punch to get it done.
Last year, no problem. They were like, I don't care about the solar. But now, because buyers, unfortunately, because of their affordability, they're squeezed.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to bring up too was appraisals. So I had 2 closings recently, and they appraised way under what we were at the purchase price that we had offered. And we didn't offer the full purchase price either.
Yeah.
So one of the houses we offered $440. I thought it was priced accordingly. It appraised at $425. Another house was priced. We put an offer in at $475 and it appraised at $456. So the appraisers are not, in the past, appraisers would go for the last 6 months of sales. They don't do that. They usually do the last 3 months of sales, and they do price adjustments accordingly, or they do a negative adjustment. So the appraisers are like, 1 minute they were just agreeing with everything, and the next minute they're like, whoa, no. They're really dictating the value of the homes.
Yeah. So I just, as you were speaking, I just realized that what may be happening there. We are, as we know, we're in the age of information, and you're watching us on YouTube, and a lot of people watch all kinds of different things on YouTube, and we have social media, and we have all these avenues that people get information now. The problem is that information, you got to disseminate what's right, what's wrong.
Right.
And so right now, could you imagine if 2008, housing, Great Recession crash, housing crash happened when we have all this? Imagine the online, oh my God, that would be happening, right?
Yeah.
So
social media wasn't as prevalent.
It wasn't. So you got most of it through the news, and it could probably be somewhat manipulated, softened, and eventually everybody realized this shit is fraud.
Right.
Right. So now though, you get the effect of just people really, really talking, saying their opinions, and everything is awful, right?
Right.
I think the appraisers are in on that. Depending on that appraiser, they may be watching that stuff and going, they get affected by it.
Makes
So
sense.
they hear that the market is going this way. And at the end of the day, that's one person going out there, looking at information and disseminating that information about that property.
They're giving a negative price adjustment.
And here's the thing. They've always been slow to kind of either go down or up.
Right.
It's easier for them to go down, though, because they don't get in a lot of trouble if they get people mad at them, of course, but they don't necessarily get in trouble as much if they're going a little down. When it's on the upswing, it takes them a while to start going, oh yeah. And you remember the appraisal issues on the upswing, right?
Right.
So it just takes them. I think they're adjusting faster right now, and maybe over adjusting.
I think they're over adjusting.
Yeah, because they're hearing that it's all crap. Right. They're literally falling into. I fell into the trap myself.
Well, because we are experienced agents. I'm going to do a comp and make sure that my buyers are not going to be overpaying. And I did not agree with the appraisals that these appraisers were giving because, I think I'm a smart person, but my lender told me that they are doing a negative adjustment. So
what's happening with those properties? Buyers had to get out of it. They split, or are they still in negotiation?
No, it's closed. They closed.
So your buyers got it at a lower price.
The buyers got a lower price,
Woo!
But
hey, there's a bonus for a buyer.
There was a nice bonus for a buyer, but because I like to double dip when I make offers. So prime example, I'll ask for a lower price, which we had, and then I'll ask for them to get all the closing costs covered.
Oh, so they took away
away some of the closing costs.
Okay. All right. So. But the buyer still wins.
But bottom line, yes, it does. But really, $25,000 difference in payment is not that drastic. Sometimes it's better to
get those closing
costs covered, so you don't have your cash.
Yeah. Okay. So they had to make some decisions.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just telling this to sellers what to expect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible. And this is why pricing right out the gate is going to help you with those appraisers. If the appraisers know that you were basically below some of the comps already,
Yeah, but sellers, they don't like to hear that. I mean, they think their house is worth more than what it really is, and what they want, you know what I mean?
But okay, there's still a zone. There's still a zone where they should, okay, if you got a seller that wants to get, last year's prices, well, they're not going to sell, if they want to be in reality, then they will sell. And where I went wrong a couple of times, I lost the listing because I went
too aggressive.
I went too aggressive, thought things were really going badly. But I also was thinking, well, I can hedge myself a little here because we'll get multiple offers if I'm wrong. Right. That's kind of like my excuse. But I was wrong, and they ended up selling that property pretty much.
The one in Reverence?
No, it was in in Southern Highlands.
Oh, okay.
And I actually had to call. I called the owner, and I congratulated them, and I said, "I am so glad you didn't go with me." And this is such a rarity. Folks, this was a moment where I was not being myself, and this is a word of caution out there to anybody who's paying attention to so much of this negative crap, because it may not be true. They ended up getting, a nice price for their property. It was lower than what they had it listed for, and they still were under the comps. Okay.
Right.
So I told them a little bit lower than that. And, they probably would have still got about what they were looking for, but it's just, look, the negative stuff out there can affect us badly. So going back to the
that's why I don't listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to be careful. I have to, All
right, well, let's get into some questions before we get into our next phase of the show, and it is already 12:48, so we need to bust a move.
All right.
So if you have cash, okay, we got that. You want to read this one?
Cash is king. Cash is king. Queen.
As a cash
owns
buyer,
the table.
What are your options if you buy new construction built from ground up and the value drops by the time the house is built? Can you back out without losing your deposit?
Probably not if you've made all the contingencies.
Well, you could negotiate the deal still.
Yeah.
If it hasn't closed, then you can still try to negotiate what the current prices are, because
they don't want to take your earnest money.
They do.
Well, that's not what they're in business for.
But especially with Pulte,
prefer to work something out.
They'll work something out, but it's not coming back to you unless maybe you find another home and then that earnest
In
money
that-
is going
in
to
that
be
same community?
Yeah, or not in the same community, but same builder.
So that's what I mean. Yeah.
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 So ultimately, because I had one client that paid cash and it went down like 3,000 after it closed. But if it hadn't closed yet and it was going down, then you need an agent. We need to renegotiate for you.
Yeah.
Because why would you buy that?
This is where it, you know, if you didn't have somebody on your side, you might not know what to do.
Right.
You really, and this is an issue. I mean, because it takes 12 months or longer in some cases to build home, 9 to 16 months.
Yep.
And some of these even longer, right?
Depending on the builder. Yeah.
So if you got in a long time ago and you see that, oh my God, I'm way above, you know, yeah, you need to change that.
But if, for example, you know, I know a lot of you have bought new construction last year and you built it from ground up, and maybe you're a little sideways, but you know, it's going to come back up, and you know, real estate goes down and it's going to go back up.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're planning to be in the home for at least 5 years. You know?
And I mean, if you love the home, it just don't, and you're happy with the payment. That's
Right.
the other thing. If you somehow were able to lock in your payment, or you know, if you didn't pay cash, those types of things are what you have to look at.
Right. All right. Let's see. Are you saying price is 20% lower than the sold comp
To sell fast? No, I wouldn't say 20% by any stretch. I mean, for example, in the neighborhood that I just last sold in, the sales were actually, the closings were closer to where we listed at. The ones that were on the market were above us by a few $1,000s. So it wasn't drastic.
Right.
It was not big drastic, but our property was nice and priced well. And we looked at the other properties that you got to look at the competition, the comps. Okay.
Right.
Not just the comparables, but the competition. How are you competing with the other properties? And that's the difference now, sellers, is you have to compete. Okay. If you're not competing with the one that's down the street,
You're competing with new construction.
A little bit. You gotta be, yeah, it just depends. In the area that I'm talking, you wouldn't be competing with there's no new construction over.
Well, no. Yeah, not necessarily in the area, but if a buyer is torn between resale and new construction, they get a better freaking deal in new construction, regardless of the area. They're going to go the new construction route.
That may be true. This happened to be a large lot, no HOA.
Right.
You know, this in a really strong area, the gateway to Summerlin. Really, you know, so when you looked at it, you knew you had some things that people wanted.
Right.
So now how do we make our home the most attractive? What's your bottom line, seller? Okay, we can work with that.
Right.
We'll get it. There you go.
Okay. Let's see. New home sales. Jerome's salary is Jerome? Is that Jerome Powell? Is that his name?
Oh, 200K?
That's it?
Yeah.
I would think he'd make more than that.
He's not making Fauci money.
I seen an article the other day saying expect 3 more interest rate hikes in 2023, possible.
Maybe.
Then add mortgage insurance to that.
If
That's if you don't put 20% down or
exactly.
FHA.
Mm-hmm.
I think solar is cool, but I don't think it makes sense. You're swapping one bill for another one. Exactly, Michael.
So what has happened with solar, and this, I'm going to just go, why I was a big proponent of it is the deals were better. Now with solar, especially if you get it now with the interest rates now,
yeah,
it's not that great. They had better deals. You got a better rate. You were, especially if you got them a while back, you got grandfathered into rates that were fantastic, and the return that you would get from the battery power. Those deals are not as strong anymore. So
sorry guys, I haven't eaten much today. How long do panels last?
About 30 years, 25, 30 years.
Okay.
You know.
You want to read the next one?
Yeah, Rusty Shackelford. Swapping out one bill for another and taking on a 20 to 30 year commitment, dumb, especially if you spend 40K on the system and it increases the value of it increases the value of your house, but by 10K or no, by more than 10K in most cases, but yes, maybe not by 40K. Just 40K systems should be on a much larger house, in my opinion. And so that's, you know, there are drastic differences in what you can purchase these systems for. And you really do need to shop. You need to get great rates. It's not the time to put one on your house right now, in my opinion.
I had an idea of a video is called 3 top solar people and get pricing on them and financing and leasing and see the options and then do a video on what these people say.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to where we started, where you asked about pools.
Yeah.
Same thing for solar. Buy a house that already has it.
Well, paid off.
Yeah. Make sure you're buying one with already has it and you're happy.
Yep.
That's when it makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. That's the only time it makes sense, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it's very similar to a pool right now in that you're going to have a lot of expense to put that pool in. You better want it. You better use it. And same thing maybe for the solar, maybe not as drastic, but you better want it. You better do something good for you, because you may not get the return on it when you sell the property as much as in the past.
Right. Exactly. So, Michael, I think the solar dorks tried to say, but after 30 years, I have no electric bill. But you still have to pay Nevada Energy, which is $13. But surely in 30 years, those panels need replacing. Exactly.
So we don't know exactly, we haven't had panels on properties for 30 years yet, 25, 30 years yet. Yeah. So you're right. We don't know a lot of things. So people are prognosticating on something they don't know about exactly. They could last longer. I certainly hope my system lasts longer. I got mine at a great time. I got it in 2018. You know, so
that's a super good time. All right, let's wrap up. We're gonna probably, I think, Rob, I was gonna go over new builder incentives, but it's already 1 o'clock. Maybe Rob and I will get together next week.
Sure, I can do that.
We'll do that because we still have to go over our who won the bets.
Yeah.
So we're going to go over builder incentives next week. Stay tuned to that. But I have created a blog post where all this is going to be on there. So if you want to know what's going on with the builders right now, give me a few hours and I'll post it on my website, the blog post. But I wanted to go over interest rates and basically who won the bets. So basically, mortgage rates tumbled in January, giving buyers of Southern Nevada and across the United States some relief of borrowing costs that had pushed higher. Okay. Yeah. But the average 30-year rate loan as of last week was 6.65%. And early in February was at 6.09%. So it's gone up.
We're going up.
But just as a brief note for new construction, the new construction builders are still having some fallout with either people backing out or they still have quick move-ins available, and they are still offering great incentives. Now, some of these incentives aren't as great as they were last month, but there's still savings and to be made buying a new construction home. That's all I'm going to say about it right now.
Yeah. And real quick, I'll just say, if you're watching the guy that came into town and says, oh, look at all these houses and there's a ghost town, and he is so wrong. He doesn't even know.
Right.
Listen, new construction might have, they're adjusting, and they're going to have people fall out and have to but you can see by the trend that you're showing every month. This is why it's good we go over this, that they're not ramping up the deals. They're not continuing to give more and more and more and more. A little bit. They're always keeping it pretty competitive,
right?
But they're not going crazy with them. Like they went really nuts towards the end of the year, right? They had some really good deals.
Actually, I still have some really good deals.
Yeah. Okay. Some good deals.
But there's not as many.
There's not, exactly. So the builders, each builder, as they sort of get rid of the properties that are standing,
right,
they're sliding back on that. They don't need to do as much as that. Yep. So this is what needs to be understood. I think that's very important to know. Not only that, but new homes. Look, when I grew up out here, new homes would take a while to build out.
Forever.
It would take years to build out a neighborhood. Okay. Yes. So now that being said, they would build sort of on demand. That's where they're going to get to, is building on demand. But also, it's not as if a new home gets built, and if it doesn't sell, it's going to get foreclosed on or something. Sure, these companies will have some issues if they don't have any movement, but it's ridiculous to just point at 10% or 15% of our market and say, there's the problem,
right?
And not look at the inventory of the resale market. And, so the guy was just an idiot for being out here saying that stuff.
Yeah. And, a lot of our numbers is based off because a lot of these new builders put them on the MLS. Okay. So
That's
that
true.
could explain why some of our median price is stable because of the new construction. But this has been going on forever. New construction always had put those quick move-ins on the MLS, especially since
It's
February
not by
last year.
big numbers either.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
you
big
know,
numbers.
it's not by big numbers, but you know, they've been doing these quick move-ins, especially last year because they wanted to ramp up. So it's no different.
Yeah.
For it. The guy you're talking about was
The builders saw this coming. I know a lot of people think that the builders are idiots, and sure, they don't do everything perfect, but they saw a lot of this coming.
But you know what?
They won so
There's
big
a lot
the
of
last
new
2 years.
communities opening up. I just did a video on new construction coming soon in 2023.
Yep.
And there's a handful in Henderson, Lake Las Vegas. They're ramping up Lake Las Vegas like crazy. So much new construction up there. And then, of course, the Northwest. And then there's that new Kyle Point and Kyle Canyon.
Okay.
West of Sunstone, there's tons of new development right there. There's a Tri-Point home community there called something Alpine Ridge, and then there's a Talus by KB Homes over there.
Okay.
So there's new construction booming still.
Anyway. Yeah, they're building.
Yeah.
They're
building.
I mean, they got one up in Summerlin South, the new Village 17 that they're getting ready.
Yes. Any information on that?
That's Pulte and Toll.
Yes.
And they're going to have model homes. They're trying to get those model homes done pretty. I talked to one of the on-site construction people there, and they're
cool because I have people ask me every day about that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, see, folks, people are asking about this every day. I mean, geez,
people want to know when that area is going to be done, and finally, because that's been vacant for forever.
Yeah.
So it's nice to finally get a development right there, and it's going to be, like you said, Pulte and Toll Brothers. There, I think there's going to be some gated. I think they're going to be all gated. There's not going to be any retirement communities, I don't think, in there. But anyway, folks, get your questions in because we're going to go over who won last month's bets. And a lot of you thought I was crazy when I was making these bets.
Yeah.
Right? Don't you remember? Like, why is she saying? I said, okay, so for median price last month, I said that we would have $1,000 increase. Rob said $1,000 decrease. We had a $5 decrease.
Just because it was a decrease, I guess I get
you get that one.
Yeah. This is where it's unbelievable to me.
Yes. So without offers, Rob said he thought it was going to go up to $6,250. I said 5,000. It was 46.65.
I thought I was being conservative too.
Oh no, I knew the inventory because you are also in the most busiest selling season.
It's coming. Yeah, you're certainly,
based off of history. And then months of supply, Rob said 4.2. I said 3.9, and it was actually 2.7.
We were both on the, whether it was a decrease or increase, 1 point. From it was 4.1. No, you were 2 points. I was 1 point. So we were very, we weren't straying far. Right. It went 2.7.
2.7.
Folks, that is right there. That's what you need to know. That's what you need to know right there.
2 months of inventory.
2.7.
All right. So let's go real quick. Rob.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
What's that?
What do you think the mean price is going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I got to go with decrease again.
Okay.
It's a tough one. I'm just going to go with another $1,000 again.
I'm just going to stay where I'm at too.
You're going to say an increase?
I'm just going to say an increase. Okay.
And you might be right. I mean, it's wild.
All right. So without offers, it was 4,600. So my turn. I'm going to say, because we are approaching our busy selling season, that we're going to go down to 4,000 without offers. We're going to decrease our inventory and we're going to continue that trend. But also we're going to get more listings, but hopefully the sales will balance that out.
I'm going to prices right you. And, and it's going to be hard for me because I'm going to wait, you said 4,000?
Oh, I said 4,000. Sorry. Not 3,000.
Because I'm going to go 399. 3,999. Because here's the deal, though. It's probably going to land right in between your number and this month's number.
Right.
But if it goes below, I win. And that's what I want to do.
All right. So what about your turn now on months of supply?
I want to say that it's going to stay about where it's at. But boy, I'm seeing a decrease right now. I know there's a decrease right now. 2.5. 2.5.
Okay, 2.5.
Yeah, that way 2.5.
Whoops. Yeah.
You can Price is Right me on this one.
Well, it's at 2.7, and if I say that the amount of without offers is going to go to 4,000, and it's at 2.7, damn it, you took my number. I'm going to say 2.6.
Okay.
I'm going to Price is Right.
Fair enough. This is this is great. We for a long time I used to kick Angie's ass at this.
I know. I've been beating you for like the last 3-4 months.
3-4 months, yep.
All right, where's my thing? So I'll do that in a minute after we end it. A couple more questions. Tillman's Casino on hold now. What is Tillman's Casino?
I don't know what Tillman's Casino.
All right, thanks, Damien. All right, folks. Well, we tried to wrap it in an hour. We always have so
that
much.
guy you're talking about is a quack. I saw that video. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael.
He doesn't even live in Vegas.
So hey, one last thing before we go. Be careful of the YouTubers out there that make their money by you watching their videos. That's how they make their money. That's what they don't do any real business. They're just trying to get you to watch their stuff.
Right. Yeah. So next week, Rob and I will do the builder incentives video
and more,
and go on, and
we'll do we could do a 7-day for you on some numbers. So
yeah, so probably next Friday or something like that.
Yeah, you want some tighter numbers on some things?
Yeah. I'm going through a remodel right now. So I'm kind of excited about that. It's going to be a couple months of remodeling because I'm doing a lot. But anyways, folks, comments? Right. No, nothing.
All right. We love you.
We love you. I've posted in the description below Rob's information if you want to get a hold of him.
Rockstar Realtor, Rob Howe.
And if you want to get a hold of me, my information's down there. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Rock on.
And do it peacefully.
And we'll see you on the next one. All right, folks.
Bye.
I almost forgot that.
I know. Bye, guys.